Hello, hello. Thanks for tuning into this video. I'm going to try to cover the most ultralight, featherlight sleep systems and how to choose between the different sleep systems, what's the advantages, the disadvantages, and my experiences traveling, backpacking, uh, through hiking, but also international travel and what worked best for me and the places I've gone. Depending on climate zone, it's going to really vary. So I'm going to cover the basic three, which is the tent, the hammock, and the bivy sack. So, in my opinion, those are the most obvious things you're going to get at an outdoor store and the most easy to come by when it comes to travel accessories and travel gear and shelter systems. So, the first one is the OneMan Tent. Everybody knows this is like an obvious one. This is probably the one that you've already considered, and now you're thinking maybe I should try a hammock, maybe I should try a bivy, but you've probably already tried this one. I have a Eureka Solitaire, which is a very affordable model of OneMan tent. It's not so heavy, it's not so light. Some do consider it to be compact like a bivy with a frame. So, the small design of this is quite easy to get around. It doesn't use a pole system that holds itself up. It's got two poles on each side, but you got to tie it and string it up and peg it into the ground in order to keep it actually up. So in a lot of cases where you're on a hard ground, maybe you can't get into the soil. If you're on a platform, concrete, tile flooring, a deck, something like that, this isn't going to work. At least this style isn't going to work. So obviously the one that has the poles that hold it up will be fine. But this style, make sure you know what style you're getting and what kind of places you're going to be traveling, because these lighter options of OneMan tent rely on being staked into the ground, and in some situations there's rocks or the sand is too soft, or there's stone. There are problems, and there's been many situations where I've been just out of luck because this won't go into the ground, and you can try to makeshift it, make it work, but it's not the best. But that's one disadvantage I would say about the tent, is it just cannot work in completely every situation. But it is great, and I would definitely recommend using this. Another disadvantage is the weight. It's the heaviest option out of all the other options. I mean, it's the top of the line for comfort. I would say, because it's got the breathability, it's got the space. You can put your backpack inside there, your shoes. You've got sometimes a vestibule on the outside there. You've got the full rain cover, mosquito net. They got good quality nylon. The space and the breathability are really a huge benefit when using this type of sleep system. And I would say overall for comfort, this is going to be your best bet. And that's kind of an obvious statement, I would say. But I just thought I'd clarify. Here's a tent. It's comfortable. It's got everything that you need. It's the most used thing and the most heard about thing for a reason, because it's pretty much the best. But it's heavy, so you can get something a little bit lighter. It's going to cost you a lot. If you find something mid-range, this only runs like $100. So overall, this saves you tons of cash by trying this type of sleep system. And you're gonna have weights 3 pounds, maybe 4 pounds, something like that is going to be an average with this. So moving on to the next one, I might come back to this. This is the hammock. So this is called Blue Sky Hammock. It's kind of like an off-the-wall brand. I got this one because it was a pretty decent price, but it has the mosquito net built in, and I'd say that is the lifesaver in this situation, is having the mosquito net. Don't just buy a basic hammock. They have those hammocks, whatever, and it's just a basic hammock. It doesn't have the mosquito net. You might as well just be sleeping out on bare ground. What's the point of just using a hammock? You're going to get crap falling in your face, you got rain in your face, you got bugs and mosquitoes coming in. Definitely opt for trying to find a type of hammock that has the mosquito net, because the usability and the flexibility for this is amazing. I mean, number one, the size and the weight, it's half as much as this. The only thing that weighs a lot is the hooks and the loops that they have on the straps for the most part. That's the only thing that's going to weigh a lot, but it's going to be half as much weight. I would say another advantage is just usability. So some people don't really consider that you can use a hammock as a tent. So obviously putting a hammock in a tree is the most normal method, but I've realized you can put it on the ground as well. Lay it on the ground like you normally would, like a tent about to set up, and then just, tie the strings and the straps up. Maybe you can use trees, you can use chairs, you can use railings, just whatever is around you to get it up, so that you kind of build your own tent, because this is a full housing with the mosquito net. So you're actually able to pull everything up and kind of create your own very ultralight pole-less tent anywhere that you have, something to suspend it on. And so I definitely use that maybe more often than I use this as an actual hammock, just because the some disadvantages of using it as a hammock is the cool weather that comes underneath. That's something maybe people don't think about. Even in hot weather climates, you're getting a breeze coming underneath, and that does cool your core temperature down a lot. 4 or 5 in the morning, you're going to feel that. Even in a warm climate, you're going to feel that. So using this with a mat is pretty essential, I would say, even in a hot climate. And let's see, what else? Another advantage of this is it's got the space that you need. It's got room for the backpack, but at the same time, it's a little bit uncomfortable to use as a storage area. So if you got it in the tree, that's the main issue. You're gonna be considering safety if you're gonna leave your backpack outside the hammock. That's one thing. But depending on where you are, maybe you're not so safe about that. You want to put it inside your shelter, so you got the backpack in between your legs or beside you in the hammock, and it's constantly going to be falling on you, and overall that's not so comfortable. So that is one little bit of a downside. But if you're using it on the ground, that's a win. You can put the backpack right next to you, and you still got that suspended hammock type or net type system. Another disadvantage is, I would say, the bugs. This has a mosquito net, but what they don't tell you is mosquitoes can still pierce through this parachute fabric. You don't really consider that, but I guess that's one advantage of using it with the mat. That'll provide a little bit of relief. But I've noticed that even if your body is covered, the mat, and none of your skin is touching, as soon as your knee or your elbow touches the fabric or touches the mosquito net, the mosquitoes will find it, and they will repeatedly sting that spot over and over. So that's one small disadvantage with using this in mosquito-y areas, is the mosquitoes still do get through. So expect that. But if you use it on the ground, you're gonna have a lot better effort. You just you find what works for you. Find a way to makeshift it into a tent, and that way the mosquitoes can't get you up from underneath. The cool breeze can't get you from underneath. This is a light option. It's super flexible. It's super compact, and it doesn't have a rain cover. That's one thing that makes it different from a tent. Obviously, with the tent, you get full protection, full shelter. You can keep your backpack inside so easily. Got the rain cover inside there. This doesn't have a rain cover. I've tried using a tarp with this, and for some reason, I haven't had so much good luck with it. I don't know why. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But overall, when the tarp goes over the top of the bug screen, I just feel like the ventilation isn't that great, and the humidity builds up in there, and moisture builds up in there a lot. And I've just had better luck just trying to camp under a really dense tree, and had pretty good luck. Even the mosquito net, it does shed off a lot of water. It's micro holes, so mostly a lot of the water will pass over it. So I've had pretty good luck with just camping out and just hoping it's going to work. And if it's going to be a rainy night, if you know it's going to happen, just try to use this in a covered area, maybe underneath some type of shelter system that you can find, the densest trees you can find, whatever. So, but for me, I travel with this in probably 30 countries right now, and this is my go-to. This is my favorite, and what I've used the most on my trips, and it's hasn't really failed me. I would say I never really had problems with rain. More than anything, I just had problems with the mosquitoes finding a way to bite in some positions, because your body in the night, you don't know where your arms are going to go. So that happens. All right, so the last option is the Bivy Sack. So of course, this is the smallest, the lightest, the most ultralight minimalist system. It doesn't get lighter than this unless you're traveling with only, I don't know, a mosquito net only. Maybe that's smaller than this, but this is, you know, it's half the size and it's probably less than half the weight of a hammock. So that's pretty amazing. You know, when I first found out about Bivy Sacks, bivouacs, I was really stoked because I'm thinking, wow, this is going to save me so much weight and super minimalist. You can throw it anywhere. You don't have to, you know, on platforms, on the beach, on the dirt, whatever. With a mat, it's super cool. You got space for your stuff inside. But there are a lot of downsides of the Bivy Sack. I would say for a couple days it's okay, but for long-term travel, you're going to find a lot of discomfort with this sleep system. The biggest thing is breathability. I mean, this thing is all nylon. It's pretty much a body bag. Like it's like a sleeping bag that's all nylon, and then maybe has like one little screen over your face. This is the REI Minimalist, and that's the experience I have with it. So breathability is the number one downside. If you're going to a warm climate, definitely do not use this one. I was using this traveling in the Caribbean and did not have a good time, I would say, guys. So the mosquitoes can pierce through it because it's laying directly on your body. So they'll get you from the top. You got no breathability. You're going to get hot and muggy and humid inside of this. And overall, it's just not really a comfortable experience. In cool weather, I would say this is going to be a really great option for saving weight, because if you have, you know, a liner or if you have a sleeping bag, that's going to absorb a lot of the humidity that's around you, and you're not going to build up as much humidity inside in cooler climates. So for cooler weather, the Bivy might work, but I would say overall for a long trip, I did a long trip. I did a few month trip with this, guys, and I would say I wasn't able to use this, and I was really uncomfortable a lot of nights using this in warmer weather. So it is ultra light, but overall, I would say the hammock provides you a lot more freedom, a lot more flexibility, and it's not so much heavier or bigger than a bivy. They do make bivvies. You know, there's the Alpine Bivy by Outdoor Research. That's a very popular model because it has two small poles on both ends. And I'm not really sure how that's set up, but I have read some reviews and people say that the breathability and the airflow still isn't that great, and people have still tried to modify it more to get more breathability. So it is a quite compact design. It's better than just a casual layout bivouac system because it has a little bit of that loft. You know, some people do make modifications to the bivy to provide that ventilation, because that's really what this is missing. So for cool weather, for a short trip, if you're trying to save weight, no problem. But overall, guys, the hammock with the bug net is something that I would say is the most recommended sleep system because it's in the middle zone. It can be used like a tent, like I said, by laying it on the ground. It's got the bug netting. It's got the space for your backpack over on the side. The comfort is pretty decent. You know, it's ultra light, it's compact, it's really small. You know, you can use it just relaxing around as well. And this is the system that I use the most often. So I mean, I started using the hammock a lot more often because I've been doing a little bit less extreme travel. But overall, if you know you're using like the hammock maybe occasionally or whatever, you know, even if you're using it every night, this would be fine, I would say. I slept several days and weeks in a row just with this hammock by, you know, mixing it up on the ground and in the trees, and had really good luck. So this is what I would recommend everybody to try for an ultralight system. The Bivy would not recommend to everyone. Yeah, it's small, it's light, it's compact, but after you try it for a while, you'll realize that this one's great. It's got that versatility, like I said. You can use it anywhere. This is the best out of all, but man, it's heavy. So this is heavy, but it's got the space and it's got the breathability, and I mean the comfort's the best. This comfort is pretty good, and this comfort is really terrible. So it kind of, you know, the more weight, the more comfort. That's just how it works. So that's what it is, guys. So that's my advice about sleep systems. You know, these are the three most traditional sleep systems that are on the market. You know, you can make your own and design your own. If you guys have any more awesome ideas about sleep systems that are more ultralight that you've had good luck with, or maybe even some products that you've, you know, experienced that are really amazing that you'd like to comment and for other people to read later, then put that below. And also check out some of my other videos on backpacking tips, travel tips, sleeping in the airport tips, regular travel blogs, reviews. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this, and make a comment about maybe one video you would like to see, because I am a full-time traveler for the most part, spend most of the year in another country. So I've got a lot of knowledge about backpacking and world travel in general. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and keep traveling.